I'm Jane Applegath. This is the Epic Vision Zone, where bold ideas meet extraordinary leaders. What if decluttering your space before the fire horse year could unlock opportunities you didn't even know were waiting? And what if the fire horse year is a once in a cycle invitation to step forward more powerfully than ever before? On February 17, we shift into the Fire Horse year, a bold, fearless energy that returns only once every 60 years. Alejandra Brady joins us to reveal the power of the Fire Horse year, one that invites you to declutter what's inhibiting you and activate aligned new beginnings. Momentum, she says, only works when your energy is clear. At 50, Alejandra was a successful high-end interior designer, but something deeper was calling. Just before undergoing surgery, she hired a Feng Shui master for a home consultation. That single moment sparked a profound transformation. As she applied the Feng Shui principles, her health, marriage, and financial life began to shift in powerful and unexpected ways. That awakening launched a spiritual journey later chronicled in her award-winning book, You Just Can't Make This Shit Up, a bold story of overcoming fear and embracing spiritual gifts. Today, Alejandra is a globally sought-after Feng Shui consultant, blending master-level energy principles with her design expertise to create spaces that change lives. Her philosophy, curiosity is your superpower, and inquiry is where the magic begins. She joins us now to share the art of energetic decluttering to prepare your home and energy for a universal 1 year and the year of the fire horse. Welcome, Alejandra. Thank you for joining us here today.
Hi, it's so great to see you again. Happy 2026.
Yeah, likewise. And I am so excited. I was just telling Alejandra, in years of yore, I didn't believe in all of these things. And since I've been doing homework and spiritual work and all of that, these things are really, really not only interesting, but they do make a difference. So I'm excited to unpack the year of the fire horse because it sounds really powerful. So,
I agree. Listen, I didn't believe in it either. So I
yeah,
came into all of this as very much a skeptic too, until I started seeing the transformations that were occurring. So sometimes I think that's the best way to be, right? You're not walking into it blindly, you're questioning along the way, which I think is great.
yeah, because that leads to further discovery. And like I say,
Mhm.
life is all about growing and learning. So this is a great opportunity. Yeah, I love it. Well, let's dive right in. What does
Sure.
a fire horse year mean?
So not only do we have a fire horse year, but we have a universal one energy year. So we'll start with fire horse since you asked that one first. Fire horse is a very yang. I mean, even just saying it, right? It feels very yang. So fire horse is all about being seen, taking bold action. It's about alignment, taking leaps. So it's going to be a very fast-paced, forward-moving year energetically. And if you add a universal 1 year, a universal 1 year is all about new beginnings. So it's a great year to launch. It's a great year to take action, and it's a great year to step into alignment. However, as the good comes with the bad. Fire also, if you think about it, if you don't harness fire, it can be chaotic, it can burn out, it can destroy things. Right? So this is all about understanding the energies that this year brings in 2026 and how to harness it and how to make it work for you instead of it leading the charge, right? A horse goes where you lead it. So you want to make sure that you're leading it. And a horse is already a fire element, just in general. That is what it's associated with. So that's a lot of fire when you include the energy of the year being fire plus the energy of the horse itself being fire. So you really do have to harness it. And if you think about it, I'm finding this a lot with my clients and even like my Pilates teacher and friends. This past year, 2025, was a wood snake year. Wood is growth. Wood feeds a fire, right? So this 2025 has all been about having that fuel that's going to carry us to feed us in 2026. However, it was a wood snake year. Snake is all about transformation, shedding its skin, shedding what no longer works for you, right? So this, and universally, it was a number 9 year. So we start a new cycle every 9 years. So the shedding of the skin combined with a universal 9 year, I cannot tell you, and I'm sure you've experienced too, how many people are quitting jobs, leaving bad relationships, selling homes, moving. It is a year, passing away, actually. It is a year of endings. And if you keep fighting it, if it's not aligned for you, gonna go. My husband had a cancer journey this year as well, and literally, he's a snake he turned 60. So I find it fascinating. He is a wood snake, and his 60th year continues to have, and his last one is in 2 weeks, so right the new year, melanoma. And so his skin is literally being cut out.
Wow.
And he's gotten a clean bill of health, so we feel very, very grateful after the first big surgery. But I mean, you can't get more literal than that. Your skin is literally being cut out of you to shed what is not helping you, right? What is not meant for you. So it's just a really interesting time. I went to my Pilates class 2 days ago, and my teacher is amazing, and she was telling me about some personal stuff that she was going through. And she's like, it came out of the blue. And I'm like, not really. You got about 3 more weeks, and to get rid of stuff that's not working for you. You've been telling me for push was going to come to shove, and it was going to go. Because between the energies of a universal 1 year, which is all about new beginning and stepping into the beginning of the next 9-year cycle, and the fire horse that's going to go, go, go. I mean, it's just really interesting out there right now, I think.
Well, that sounds so exciting. It's interesting, Alejandra, because if you look at the state of the world right now as well, I mean, those energies feel like they're all falling into place. And like you said, it doesn't start till the 17th of February. But just look at what's happening. I mean, if it's not in your personal life, you just have to look at what's happening around us. And there is a lot of what I call static, but it's energy. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of energy, most likely getting us ready for this fire horse year. So thank you for that information. And what an interesting story about your husband. Oh my gosh, there are no coincidences. So, I mean, that is certainly a sign that there is, he's literally shedding his skin to move into the next year. Yeah,
Literally.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Literally, for
Yeah.
what's coming next. I truly think, and there's so many conversations that I have had this past year, because I do consultations all over the world and I talk to people everywhere. It is not unusual. There's enough, but it's for the better. It's to get us ready for the next cycle, because we cannot grow, we can't move forward if we are stuck, in those stagnant patterns, if we are stuck. And this year, more than any year for quite some time, our house is actually really going to be our biggest ally, because we need everything to be working at optimal capacity so that we can take those big, bold leaps and make those big decisions, because it is about decisions. Opportunities are going to come and you're going to have to make a decision. It's not time to ponder and think about it and, well, let me weigh it out. You're going to need to always have a lot of clarity this year to be able to take advantage of the opportunities that are going to show up for you.
Well, this is great. This is so timely. That's why I wanted to get Alejandra on before the year kicked in, the year of the horse. Yeah. So we can get this information out there. So the fire horse energy only arrives every 60 years, which I find is fascinating. So what makes this cycle so powerful? You just gave us some information there, and why is preparation, not reaction, the key to thriving in it?
Personally, I think preparation is always the key to thriving in an environment, right? I mean, it's better to feel safe and grounded in your space than to always be reacting to your space. And so you just want your home to be that grounding base for you, because if the house itself is cluttered, I know you touched on the clutter at the beginning. If the house is cluttered, if the house is dirty, if the house is just not supporting you, and everything in the house is an old version of yourself that did not get shed, then moving forward is going to be even harder. You're going to be fighting it. Everything from your closet. Do the clothes represent where you want to go? If you want to be XYZ, but your clothes are ABC, they're not going to help you get there. So you really need to spend the time. And again, this isn't like on the 16th, it's one thing, and on the 17th, it's another. The Lunar New Year is on the 17th. The energy will slowly start coming in, a few weeks before. And then you still have a month or 2 or 3 if you need it to finish preparing. I don't want people to think, oh my gosh, I didn't get to my entire house by February 17th. Forget it. There's no point in it. It still works, Get to it when you can, at the pace that works for you. I'm super busy, so I'm doing like one room at a time, and I started last weekend, and just really going into one room at a time, really looking at everything that's in there, releasing what no longer is needed, and just making the changes that I need to make in order to feel that space supporting me. And even though I do this for a living and I do it all the time, it's amazing how much just clutter there always seems to be every time that I'm like, where did this come from? It's like, I don't even know where stuff comes from. And there's still always dirt, and there's still always dust. It's just, if we have 4 rescue dogs, there's always going to be fuzz. There's always going to be something. So take the time and really go through each room. And the 4 areas that I really, really want people to concentrate on. If you can't get to your entire house, these are the rooms I really want you to focus on, because these will be the ones that most support the energy coming through. So as a BTB certified Feng Shui consultant, I work with this tool called the Bagua map. I'm trying to find where it shows up. There you go. And it's also on my website. I can see it when I'm in my picture-in-picture. I can't much there. But anyway, the bottom of the Bagua map is the career element, and that is right by your front door. So you want to make sure you're looking at that of your home. Opposite of that, at the very top of your home. So if I'm standing at the door and I'm looking into my house, it's the area right immediately within my sight line. At the very top is the fame and reputation in your house. And that is the one element of your house that is also associated with the fire element. So that is an area that you're going to want to work with a lot this year. Then you're going to want to work with your health, the center of your home. And you're going to want to work with helpful people, which is the bottom right of your home as you're standing in. And that those are so important this year is because that fame and reputation area is going to be a visibility, how you are seen in business and how you want others to see you. So because this year is going to bring so many opportunities, you want to be ready for them, right? So you want to add candles or red accents, warm lighting, whatever works here. And I know that you touched upon it a little bit at the beginning, but I am doing a 10 module course that's called The Art of Energetic Decluttering. So I walk you through all this. And then there's 5 live sessions with me where you can ask me questions, because there's no way we can cover all that, in our short time together. The career area right by your front door, you want to have that clean and clear. You want to check that front door, the mouth of chi. You want to make sure the hardware's working. You want to welcome in those opportunities. So this is a place where water is beautiful, a vase of fresh flowers that you change out weekly, a new doormat, anything that signifies I'm opportunities coming my way.
Mm.
The helpful people, my office is actually in helpful people, and I love that so much. This is where you are going to want those mentors, right? People come to me a lot of times and they want more wealth. They want to find love, but a lot of them are more wealth, right? Financial prosperity. But it's like you need clients, and clients are helpful people. You need people to come into your store. You need patients, clients, whatever, that translates into. So you want to work with that area of your home to call in those people that are then going to help you move forward in your career and acquire. It's a very financially abundant this year that's coming in too. Like, people are going to do well if they get their ducks in a row, really and truly. And then the center, stability, health, grounding, so that you don't get carried away by that fire energy. You don't reach a level of burnout. You don't get sick. You are able to harness that energy, and you have a landing place when you get home. Actually, in all honesty, we just spent the last 3 hours. I had to go up and throw my hair into a quick bun because we spent the last 3 hours replacing the rug in our family room, and it is the center of our home here. We do have 4 rescue dogs, and no matter how clean I keep this house, 2 of our rescue dogs are in diapers. One is only 4, so I run the gamut from 13 to 4. And that rug, I'd been looking at it for about 3 or 4 months. I'm like, it doesn't feel good anymore. But, you get trapped in that thought process. It was really expensive. I really like it. But I just knew it had to go. One of the dogs had chewed a hole in it, the puppy, and we just flipped it around and put the sectional underneath it in a different location first, because again, it was super expensive. And I'm finally like, it has to go. It has to go. Between everything going on with my husband, with the energies that I know are coming this year, I really want to reinforce that health gua in our home and really maximize the benefits that it can provide for us, and that stability and that grounding. So we did. We let it go this morning. The new one came in, cleaned everything, and it is just, the nooks and crannies of sectionals, and I'm sure everyone can relate, but oh my goodness. Mopped everything, cleaned it all, unrolled, vacuumed it all, used the Palo Santo to clear any energy of wherever it was made and where it came from. And now we're just, moving forward with very intentional use of the space now. So that's what I tell everybody. Kind of see what's going on in your life and focus on that, and then spread out from there to the other areas. But those are really the ones that you want to concentrate on this year to get the most benefit out of the year that's coming up.
Wow. I love the story that you place in there, because it really hits home with a lot of individuals, how we wrestle with ourselves, how we, like you said, it was very expensive, it's been there, blah, blah, blah. It's still usable. Why do we need to get a new one? Because we're all going to wrestle with those questions, whatever it might be that I always say the repurposing. So my attitude is, well, it's time someone else could cherish this, or it's time someone else can use it, and that way I feel as though I'm passing it forward, but also, like you said, you're clearing your space.
Right.
So, wow, that's so powerful. Well, how can unresolved fear, then, resentment, and old stories turn momentum into chaos?
Because you're stuck in them. You just keep going. You're stuck in them all the time. So the only way unstuck from a BTB Feng Shui point of view is to clear your space and have that. I think it's amazing that people are more open to all the different therapies, all the different modalities, and are, exploring that more and more. From when I started my journey almost 10 years ago to now, it's so much more out in the open, and people talk about it so much more. However, if you're coming back to a space that is keeping you stuck in those old stories, it's going to be much harder to push forward, right? Because that space is an obstacle. So to me, it's all about clearing that space and having that space align you so that you can see what's possible. My very first Feng Shui teacher always told me, she held out two hands and she put stuff in both of them. And she's like, if this is you and somebody is handing you whatever it is that you want, and it's different for all of us, right? Whatever would be our heart's desire, it's very different for any of us. But if your hands are full, if your space is cluttered, if your closets are full, if there's not room to hang one more thing, if everything in there doesn't even fit, if you can't fit one more dish or dishes are cracked, whatever the situation may be in your space, how are you going to accept what I'm trying to give you? You can't. Your hands are full, and that just equates completely into your space. So I try and leave a little bit of empty space on each shelf. You can see behind me, it's not full. It's not wall to wall covered in things. I try and leave a little bit of empty space in every surface in our home so that new things can present themselves to me. And yes, I mean, you can do it any way you want, right? You can give away. I kind of divide it up. The rug actually had to be thrown. There was no salvaging that one anymore. So that one we've just released it. But if things are usable, I'll donate, I will gift. Some things are trash, and you can also sell. So there's a lot of different ways to approach the thing in your home that no longer serve you. There's lots of different things you can do. When I first had my cervical fusion, which is the surgery you were talking about, I couldn't carry a heavy handbag anymore. And up until that point, it was all about, the bigger, the better. Think about our handbags. And then I turned all those massive, gorgeous designer bags. I cannot carry that anymore. So I gifted some. I sold some. I donated my nieces had a little bit of fun in the closet. You just a little bit of everything. So there's no right or wrong way. You can use it as to what feels good to you. But the point is, do it so that new things can come in.
Right. Yes, absolutely. It's really a mindset as well, because I do have some friends that just can't let go of things, and they can't. I don't know what. And actually that segues into our question here, because what does our physical space reveal about the inner circles we're afraid to close? Because that would be really insightful. You've probably come across people who just they just can't. It's like you're pushing them off a cliff just to declutter their closet even. So what is that revealing?
It says to me normally that you stuck in some story, right? And there's a lot of times it is about how much something was. If you dig even below that, it is, what does that mean? And why are you afraid to move forward? I do come across a lot of people, myself included, who are children of parents who either went through the Depression or World War II, or a lack of scarcity. A lot of times it is a scarcity mindset. You are afraid that you will not be able to replace that item. And that is because you live in scarcity. You live in a lack mentality, right? So it's about releasing that. That was even with the rug. I'm like, it was so expensive. I'm like, but it's trashed, It's like, it just truly is. And I have to let go of the fact that I cannot afford to buy it again, and just trust that I win and that I can get it. It was smarter this time. I'm like, again, I have 4 rescue dogs. Let's not buy another one that's this expensive. Let's buy one that if this happens again, I won't feel as guilty, and it won't take me as long, to replace it if that is necessary. But it's, for most people, it is in that fear. My client that I was talking to not that long ago is calling it quits with somebody that she lives with, and her fear is, I won't find somebody, or maybe I shouldn't. So it is a fear-based. Usually it's fear, or it's lack of. So trust that you will. Trust that if you release this person no longer the right person for you, the right person will come along, but the right person can't come along if this person's there. I had a fabulous, she's one of my favorite clients, and divorced. And so she was having trouble calling in somebody else. And she's like, I don't get it. I'm like, I don't get it either. I mean, you're beautiful, you're intelligent, you've got your own house. I mean, everything be like, why isn't this working? And we'd feng shuied her bedroom and her matching nightstands and creating that space, and emptied out a drawer. We'd done like all the things, you know. And then I noticed her bed was really low to the ground, so I'd never really thought about stuff under the bed. And I'm like, is there anything under your bed? She goes, oh yeah, just old papers. I go, what papers? She goes, oh, my divorce papers, love letters from old boyfriends, mementos from old relationships. I'm like, well, no wonder that nobody else is coming in. You're sleeping with all these people's energy underneath. And I cannot tell you, it took us about half an hour just to get her to pull it out. Took about another half an hour to look through them and decide that it was okay to let them go. And then another 45 minutes to move them to the front door. And then they sat there for like another hour. And then another 40, about an hour later, I'm like, can we put the bag out the door now? She's like, okay, I think I'm ready. And as soon as we put it outside, I'm like, walk back inside. I want you to tell me how it feels. And she walked back and she goes, I can feel it throughout my whole body. I'm like, so are you ready to let it go? She goes, can I put them in the garage for a minute? I'm like, okay. So a week later, I checked on her and she goes, they're still in the garage. And I'm like, okay, you have a month. And a month later, she's like, all right, I'm ready to let them go. And she put them in the garbage can and she allowed, them to be taken. But it does take people a minute sometimes. And it's all the emotion attached to it. And last I checked in on her, because it was a client that I don't live there anymore. It was in Sedona. She's got a partner that she's very, very happy with. And they're in a great relationship. So it worked.
Oh my God.
You have to take that leap of faith.
I think she was hiding them there because she didn't want you to find them. I mean, seriously.
I think I just put them there because it was an easy place to put them. Like, I don't know that she gave it any real thought. She just it was a place to put in correspondence and letters and little mementos, but she didn't realize the impact that it was having on her life. And, when other partners would come in, that they wouldn't last long. It's like, well, because they were feeling all that energy, all our items carry energy. And that's why I said I used Palo Santo over the rug before I put our furniture on it today. I vacuumed it and then I did Palo Santo because everything carries energy. So everything in your house is going to have that energy. If you love antiques, or a person that has nothing but antiques in their home, think about that. That is energy from who knows how long before you. And what those pieces of furniture have seen. Have they been through the war? Have they had to be sold because somebody passed away? Have they had to be sold because somebody couldn't afford them? So, clear the items in your home on a regular basis, especially if they've been items that have been handed down. Because sometimes you're feeling stuck and not know why. And it's things like that are actually causing the stagnation. And you're like, but I'm not that kind of person. House is surrounded by things that maybe don't belong to you or that have been gifted to you. Antiques, you just don't know. So, and clear anything I bring into the house, regardless of who gave it to me. Right. Even if it's my husband that bought it, I still don't know where it came from, So unless you made it yourself, I'd say clear it.
Right. Wow. So powerful. Yes. It's, the old saying where your focus goes, energy flows. And also subconsciously, like you said, she didn't even realize that she had done that because she was, it's so interesting. And that's a something for people to consider because a lot of people do, keep those things and where they store them and they don't let go of them. And that can be, like you said, everything carries energies. Wow. Thank you for that insight. That's amazing. Well, this is, like you said, a year not to play it safe. But what happens when someone ignores the call for movement?
I think what happens is it can lead to burnout and it can lead to having a harder time seeing the opportunities that are coming. Like you might be creating all these obstacles and you're not going to see what's available to you this year in that situation. You know, you make it harder on yourself, basically, is the roundabout way. But again, I don't come from a fear practice. I practice that. I don't say, if you don't do this, then, hell's come down and all that stuff. I just that you are not going to be working with the energies available to you to the best of your ability, and it might make things harder. And that's,
Right.
you might hit burnout because it is a yang energetic go you. So if you're not working with that energy, your horse may run wild, and your fires may burn out of control. And I mean, it very easily could lead to burnout, maybe some illness. And again, not to be, but just to say, here to be prepared to take advantage of the opportunities that are coming, because we can't change the fact that it's a universal 1 year. We can't change the fact that it's a fire horse year. The energy is going to do what the energy is going to do. It's up to us to figure out how we want to harness it and make it work,
Right.
For us and with us.
Right. And what an apropos word, harness for the year of the fire horse. Absolutely. Well, actions now. I know you've mentioned some
Sure.
things that to do, but you some of the top action steps or rituals our listeners can take with them this year to get them aligned with these energies. So you mentioned the front door
Yes.
and a few others. Is there some
Yes.
other small actions that people can take away?
Yes, I actually made a list of them for you so that I didn't forget any. And I get really way deep into this and give a lot of options in the course. But for this, these are just some easy, different actions that you can do in some different areas of your home to kind of help you get started. So you want to activate the fame and reputation gua, which is in the south at the very top, as I mentioned before. It's the fire area of your home. And you can add the candles, warm lighting, or red accents. This is a great place if it makes sense with your house. Ours is our kitchen, so I'm not going to do this. Display awards, press, or any meaningful accomplishments. I do it in my office. You can see it behind me that my diplomas are up. If it makes sense with your aesthetic, if you're in Aspen, Sedona, this might be great. If you're in Tampa, Florida, not so much. Add a horse symbol if it aligns with your aesthetic. Or if you really want to call in the horse, but it just doesn't make sense with your house, you can put it inside a cabinet very intentionally. Get a little one, put it inside it, and it is your own intention that you want to work with the energy of the fire horse. For the career gua, which is right when you walk into your front door and right at your front door. And I always like to clarify this because I get a million saying, well, I live in an apartment. I don't have the front door to my building. I room. So the front door to your space is whatever the front door to your space is. So if it is the apartment, we're talking about the entrance to the apartment, the actual door to your apartment, same as if it's just a room. If that's all you have control over, it's the door to your room. So you can add movement. You can add a small fountain or an image of flowing water, again, if it makes sense with your aesthetic. I like just a vase with flowers. You can update your resume, your website, or your LinkedIn, because again, it's about visibility and calling in opportunities. And you can use affirmations like, my career flows with ease and alignment. So those are some easy ones. And again, I won't be redundant. We talked about what you can do at your front door as well earlier. You can strengthen the center gua, what I literally just did this morning. Keep it clutter-free, add grounding elements, ceramics, terracotta, rugs, earthy textures that grace. And then you can use a single clear intention statement here for the year. I want to feel stable. I want to feel protected. I want to feel grounded in my environment, whatever resonates for you, and just have that one clear intention for that space. You activate the helpful people, which is, again, for me, it's my office. It's to the right of your career gua. And you want to add metallic elements or white accents. The color for this squat is gray. Why my shelves are gray. That's very intentional. You can place a list of desired mentors, clients, collaborators. If you've always wanted someone, a year to make that list and have it in this area of your home and call it in. You know, what's the worst that can happen, right? I mean, this is the year when a lot of really big leaps are going to happen. So take that chance. You know, you want to be in the Today Show, you want to be whatever it is that it is for you, throw it out there. Chances are,
Wow.
you know, could happen. You can also make an offering. I really like this, and I do this all the time, or a thank you note for existing support. I always, always, always have a looks in this area, and I write thank you notes, and I just say, you know, thank you to my clients, and I act as if it's already taken place. So if there's something that I want to call in, we'll just use the same example since I just said it out loud. I would write, mine would say, thank you so much for the opportunity to have been on the Today Show. What an incredible experience. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. So, and then I would date it. You know, I like dating things. It's really fun when you're doing Feng Shui adjustments and cures and enhancements. It's really, I think, and my clients seem to think so too, to date them and then see just how long it takes for something to shift. Sometimes it's a day, literally. I have had a day. I have had 3 years. You know, so trade is not transactional. It doesn't, I changed the rug today, so my husband's health is going to be perfection tomorrow. What it means is I worked intentionally on that space so that I can work with the energies to call in, you know, auspiciousness, health, vitality, good things, and not feel like we're fighting that energy. But sometimes very fast, you know, it's fun. I think especially for a lot of beginners, it's almost like the universe is like, I know you need something to validate what you just did, so I'm going to make it happen really quickly, you know, which is fun. I mean, when you do see it happen immediately, you get so excited, you know.
Yeah.
You want to bring in some wood energy because, again, wood supports growth and fuels fire, right? So you want to add healthy plants in the east or southeast of your home. You want to bring in symbols of upward growth. And upward growth means like tall plants, bamboo, anything that grows linear, that grows tall because it's growth. And fire, if you think about fire, it goes up too, right? So we're very intentional. And you can add green or teal accents intentionally as well. So I've got a couple, some, but I don't know how we're doing on time. You let me know.
Oh, we're good. Yeah.
Okay.
We're
All
good.
right.
Yeah.
So, all right. So we can talk about the front door, you know, clean and repair anything you need. Every Lunar New Year, add a new doormat. I just change it out and I just refresh it once a year. You want to also manage your fire intentionally. Fire, as we've talked about, is great when it's directed, but if not, it can be chaotic, right? So we don't want really crazy, overstimulating decor. Make sure that there's a nice balance. And as a person who absolutely loves candles, even I need to be reined in sometimes. You don't want to have them everywhere. You want to use them intentionally, right? Because that is fire, literally. And you want to add, if you feel overwhelmed, you want to bring in some water or you want to bring in some earth to ground and to kind of stabilize that fire energy. Like if you're moving through the year and everything's just feeling, even if the opportunities are all fantastic, if it's feeling like too much and you can't get to it all and you're getting nervous and you're getting overwhelmed and anxious, bring in that earth, bring in that water, and that kind of balances the fire out a little bit. You can use, there's some really great crystals to play with this year. Carnelian for courage and creativity. Black tourmaline for grounding. I always keep black tourmaline right outside my front door too, just for protection. Citrene's about money, and it also is about confidence. Green aventurine, which is green, literally, it's a beautiful stone, growth and fresh starts. And then some rituals that you can do, which again, this is not really the format to get into a super deep version. I do in the modules, but you can do a space clearing ritual. So that could be a salt burn clearing with Palo Santo, even something as simple as opening all your windows and doors for 9 minutes to just clear out the house. It doesn't have to be super, super complicated. You can set an intention and do like an intention setting ceremony, whether it's in the middle of your house or the career, whatever area feels appropriate to you. You can do a candle activation in the fame and reputation. You can light a candle very intentionally with a purpose. You can do, I do this often, a 27 item release or donation. So if at any time there is stagnant energy, if you don't feel that there's 27 items to release, you can at least move 27 things around. And that kind of helps shift the energy of your space immediately. And you can also use the Bagua map. If people go to my website, they can download a free one. And then you can overlay the Bagua on your home and you can kind of put it out for the year and say what you would like to call in for each area. And in the course, we do that for you. Like I walk you through it, how to do it. But basically, you're going to each area and saying, for my career, I'm calling in this. For my skills and knowledge, this way, I'm calling in this. For health, I'm calling in this. So you can easily do it, yourself as well as a starting point. And then I would say the last one would be embracing aligned action for your home. Rearrange one space that feels really stuck, literally what I add lighting where you want vitality. Dark spaces tend to get kind of stagnant. So make sure that you're getting into those closets, clean out those closets and wipe them all down, even if you're putting everything back in, and just let some light in there because those little corners are what collect stagnant energy. And replace anything that's or energetically stagnant because we don't want that as an obstacle for this coming year. So I think those are some really to get everybody started. And maybe at the beginning you should go back in and edit and tell everybody to get some paper and pencil when they're listening to this or listen to the second.
Well, that was fantastic. Oh my gosh. I'm just so excited because I know that you have, like you keep mentioning the course, and I would love for you to tell our audience about your upcoming course, The Art of Energetic Decluttering, Preparing Your Home and Energy for 2026. And this was one of the reasons that I got Alejandra on here, because I think this is something that everybody could partake in and would benefit greatly from this fire year that we're heading into, the fire horse year.
Thank you. Yes, this is my second venture into an online course. I had so many requests to start teaching online because I understand I can't be everywhere at once. I also, not everybody can afford to work with me one-on-one, and I understand all of those. So I took my leap, right? I did my first course, Feng Shui for the holidays, over the holiday season, and people had really, really wonderful responses to it. So I decided to do a super deep dive into all of this and create my new course, The Art of Energetic Decluttering. So it's 10 modules, and everything that we just talked about, I go really deep into it with you and explain why it is so important, like in real in depth. And it's a self-study, so you can pace yourself. But then I also include mapping out the Bagua with you, rituals for your home that we can do, a full energetic reset. There's a lot of extra stuff in there. And what I'm also doing for the first time, because people did have this note for me, which I love, I always appreciate feedback. With the first course, the Feng Shui for the holidays, people said, loved it, great, did it, but really wanted to talk to you, and I had follow-up questions for you. So this time I said, all right, let's try this out. So this is my first time offering this. With the course, you get 5 hours with me. So I'm going to do 5 live sessions once a month. The first one starts February 11th. And, I'm hoping people get to the first couple of modules for the first one, the next few for the next one. And I'm going to touch on those. But mainly, it's going to be an hour of me being able to answer questions and help support people on their journeys, because no two homes are alike. So everyone's going to have different situations, different layouts, different questions. And I'm hoping that is what people have been asking me to do. And then I'm hoping that resonates and that I'm giving people what they've asked for. So I'm excited about it. It's something new, again, myself growing, leaping, moving forward, and trying to make it easier for people to work with me at different levels.
Right. Yeah, that sounds fantastic. I mean, and also this broadens the reach because I know that, yes, you can work with people over the virtual, but this creates a
Hmm.
community and also other people might bring up questions that they didn't think of. So I just think it's a great offering that, and especially for this year that's coming forward. So tell our audience then, Alejandra, how best to connect with you and where they can get information to sign up for your course.
Sure. It's all on my website. So my website is gasashuelife.com. You can
Mhm.
also reach me on my email, but it'll be through the website too, connect@gasashuelife.com. Course will be under the services. So you'll see services, on the little hamburger bars. And if you just click on there, the online course section will come up and it'll have both of my courses there. And of course, if anybody wants to work with me one-on-one, whether in person or virtual, all those are on there. So I've tried to create different ways to make it so that I can help people as much as I can, right? Because they're in of me. So I'm doing my best on this end too. And I am trying to address the things. And I find working with the energies just so fascinating.
Mm.
So I really enjoyed, the months of deep diving that I did into it. And I am always practicing what I preach myself. So I'm busy in my house getting it ready for everything as well.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. I mean, we've now proven, science has proven, the power of energy and how everything is associated with energy. And, like preparing the place where you dwell and having that support you rather than fight you or actually just creating chaos and you don't know why. But
Right.
yeah, this is so vital and it really it's like a refresh. It's like you
It
can't take
is.
your house and shake it out like a rug, but it's almost like what you're doing. It's like, it's
It is.
really
It is an energetic.
yeah, it is, and it makes everyone feel good because we all collect clutter, like you said. Even though this is your business, you go back every year and you go, my gosh, where did this stuff come from? I'm as guilty as everyone else, paper and things, and because I do art festivals as well. So you go crazy there collecting all these little things from artists. But then of course you're like, oh my gosh, I remember this thing. I don't need it. I don't want it anymore. But thank you. Thank you, Alejandra, for joining us here today and reminding us that this is the year of courage, of momentum, of choosing freedom over fear. And the question is, are you brave enough to run towards it? Because the fire horse
Yeah.
doesn't wait to be chosen. She chooses herself. So, once again, for information and to connect with Alejandra, go to the Epic Vision Zone bio pages where you will find all of her social media and direct contact information and the information on her upcoming course. And be sure to follow me on Instagram at Jane Applegath and look me up at janeapplegath.com and like and subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Epic Vision Zone. Sending you much love and gratitude. Until next time, stay visionary, lead with love, be epic.